afternoon. You got to be happy so far.
Well, yeah, anytime you can start with a win on the showcase weekend, it's great. You know, I want to say right now that kudos to Perth Blue Wings, Mike McLean. It's great setup here, tent, the hospitality tent, the whole atmosphere. It's a great time. It's good for a new league. It's a great kickoff.
You're no stranger to junior hockey and the importance of junior hockey in the communities that they're homed in. And Westport has had a home and been a home to junior hockey for a number of years. The amount of community give back that happens. Your area, I know, has a number of people when the time is right to do some renovations to the rink, for example. You call upon the members of the community. I heard this story earlier this afternoon, and I think it's a really great story, is that, there were some updates that needed to be done at your local community center, and all of a sudden there were a number of contractors that arrived and plumbers, and, it got done, simply. And that's what your hockey team's all about, and that's what your hockey team is part of that community. It's a constant give back, and it's a very important part of Westport, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we pride ourselves. I mean, out of the 16 teams in the league right now, counting 700's the smallest competing in this league. But like you said, our rink's been around for a long time. It's getting old. It's getting run down. And they came up with a thing called FOA, which is Friends of the Arena, in the community. And they've raised money. They've raised up to close to $100,000 already, and they're doing the repairs in the rink themselves. The community is actually doing it themselves. It's a really remarkable thing, and that's what makes you proud to be someone from Westport or a small community like that. Everybody kicking in, and it makes everybody, when they walk in the rink, they have a little bit of something that they've done there to make the place better.
As well, every Friday night, Saturday night when you play, you've got a hometown game that stands at full. And the reason for that is because you have a community behind that hockey team, and they come to that rink, and people see that, and that brings more people to the building. But I think in the true sense, we talked about this league, it goes back to 1966. And when you follow it through its time, the amount of time that the Westport, formerly the Westport North League Rideaus, I remember that in the days of junior B hockey hookup, when we had Gary Trainer in your building going back a number of years, to where we are today. What do you think? I mean, there's a little realignment that's happened. There's some new rivalries that are going to happen, but, from the business perspective, the way that I see it is that if we have Westport, Perth, Athens, Perth has never had a chance to see Athens, Westport's getting a chance to see Perth from a long, long time ago. Does that not make sense? I mean, I think that we'll put more people in the seats. I see maybe people traveling to Westport and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The one thing, nobody likes change. That's one thing that everyone always talks about. Nobody likes change. But, it was time, and, we had old rivalries like we lost the Gananoque Islanders, which Westport Rideaus and Gananoque Islanders had rivalries for 15 years, like good ones.
There's still good fights going on.
Yeah, like crazy. So, but you know what? But now you got a place 20 minutes down the road in Perth. And like you said, they get to go to Athens. Some new rivalries. You lose old rivalries, but you're going to gain new rivalries, and it's going to fill the rinks. Who's not going to come 20 minutes, Perth fans, Westport fans, to watch a Perth Westport game? It's going to happen. Playoffs, if it ever happened, it may not align, but if it ever happened, it'd be some pretty fun stuff.
I talked to a couple of managers last night, and one of the main things that they were telling me, that they were excited about the existing rivalries that will continue, but they were also very, very excited about the rivalries that are going to start, or the opportunity to be able to go and play and see a team in a town that they've never seen before.
Absolutely, and it's the same thing with, you're going to see everybody in the league. So now it used to be blanketed to 8 teams, and that's who you played, and you didn't play anyone else unless you made a decent finals. Now you get to see everybody all year. You're not going to see them. You're not going to see your local your rivalries 8 times like you used to, but you're going to see them 4. But you're going to see teams like Renfrew, and you're going to see teams like Metcalf, Clarence, like we played today. Charlotte, we're gonna end up playing everybody, so it's gonna be a little more of an even playing field where you're gonna know what you're getting into, as the year goes on. You're going to see everybody.
And you know, when you see a team in here like the Castleman Vikings that are here, I mean, look at that record. I mean, back to back, I believe, and I think they won the league 3 of the last 5 years. So you now have an opportunity to see a team like that. I think it's a great part of what this new league formation and what they're lining up.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had the opportunity to see Castleman because we were in the Rideau St. Lawrence division of Castleman. I mean, it's a great organization, always has been. They always like the hockey club. But again, like teams like Ottawa West, Ottawa South, the Renfrews, they haven't been able to face a team like that. And, you know, I think it's great for the league. I think moving forward, and there's going to be bumps, there's going to be turns in this, and I think everybody knows that, but I think at the end of the day, we're going in the right direction.
Do you think it's really, you know, Mike, I think it's a situation where we've got to get a year under our belts, and you're going to see the pros and the cons, and then you're going to sit at the table at the end of that year and say, okay, this worked very, very well. This, you know, this we might need to work on a little bit to try and massage it and make it work for everybody. But, you know what, if you start to take a look at what's happening in Showcase Weekend so far, we've had some great hockey games in here. We've had some games going overtime and shootouts. They're fairly tight all the way through the weekend so far. There's no 9-1 goal work. So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been a great weekend. Like I said, everyone seems to be fairly competitive, and you know, and like I said, moving forward, we're gonna have bumps in the road. And like I said, but I think as we move on, you know, we all know that we're gonna have to sit down and say, okay, we're gonna change this a little bit or tweak this a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to make for a more competitive league like we get to. And like you said, we've seen some close games. I think the Winchester game this morning was good. So 0-0 and 1-0 in shootout.
Scoreless, overtime, shootout, 1-0.
That's a pretty good hockey. So, you know, moving forward, I think this is great for the league. I think it's great for the small communities. And, you know, I think there's going to be some good things coming out of this.
Talk to me about your hockey team. Of course, hockey teams change each and every year. And that's a tough thing for coaches and managers. The first major change is, of course, you've got a coaching change. You've got a fellow in there by the name of Rob Dobson, and he's on the bench with you today. And that's the first thing that's happened. The other thing that happens with hockey teams on a regular basis is the developmental part of a hockey team to try and have a nucleus and a base so that, you know, there are some hockey teams, if you look years gone by, that you load up and at the next year you've got nothing and you got to start over again. And I think the developmental process when we started at the midget teams leading to CCHL2 into Tier 1 possibly is a big part of this process, isn't it?
I mean, and absolutely, yeah, you know, I'm having the luxury to get to work with an old-time friend of mine, Rob Dobbs.
You poor guy.
I think we're going to have some fun. I'm pretty sure him and I'll have a lot of fun as we move forward. But even at Westport, like being in the small community, we've gone through changes where our community-owned team, we actually sold to the Smith Falls Bears, part of the CCHL1. But moving forward, I think has the whole umbrella, the way this league is going to work, I think it was a good opportunity for us, and I think lucky that we had someone like the Castle family, the Smith Falls Bears, that are going to walk us through this. You know, as things change, you need, I think, probably in the long run, you'll need ownership or someone to guide you through it.
You make a great point, because if you take a look at the teams that are community owned, I mean, yes, that was the way back in the 60s and the early part of the 70s, but as the league has grown and you know, things have changed within the economy, the expense level, I remember being here with Skip Patterson in the 70s, and I mean, I think you could run a junior franchise for somewhere between $30,000 $35,000. We're a long way from that now, and when you have an existing tax base that might be, you know, not as big as what it was a number of years ago, we're seeing more and more teams with owners involved, and I think that's very important, because with ownership, it allows you to grow. It keeps that team within the community that is an important part of that community, and makes it move forward, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been lucky with the Castles that come in with the ownership, but they also want to keep the small town community kind of the way it is. They didn't come in to change anything. They come in because the program is changing, and you know, there's going to be a junior B team, or you got your CCHL1 or CCHL2, and then you have your U18. So they want to get involved because they had to deal with someone at the junior B level. It was a good partnership for both of us. but they don't want to change anything in the small town hockey. So we were lucky that way that they're letting Westport run in their own team, and it's kind of our own identity, but we're lucky that we have it.
Yeah, it's a nice affiliation for sure. Now, when you take a look at the team, excited about this year? I mean, always as you go off season, and any hockey team has to have a guy with passion, like yourself, like Robbie, that wants to go into different rinks. I mean, it's a full-time job when you really think about this. When you start looking for hockey players, you need some contacts, you need to be on the road constantly to try and make the fit, because it's not an easy thing to do, and you have to be competitive, correct? And now with a few of the changes that have happened, expanding things out a little bit more, it's a constant job to try and build the nucleus to be competitive, right?
I think for sure, I always said, I've been involved in this game now for, I think I'm in my 21st year, and I always said, if I stop having fun, I'm getting out.
It's time to get out.
It's time to get out. I was getting to that point probably 2 or 3 years ago, but these new changes have kind of rejuvenated me a little bit, and I'm back having fun again. And I always said that. I'm not having fun, it's time to step away from it. But the changes, everything that's going on right now, it's exciting, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, you know what? I like watching you have fun, because when you have fun, all of Westport has fun, the hockey team has fun, the community has fun. Thank you very much for what you do. I mean, we don't get rich in running hockey teams. You're going from rink to rink. It's about the love of the game, the passion of the game, and not only that, but the passion of the place you call home, and that's really a big part of it. So Mike Bundy, thank you very much for being here with us, big fella. Thanks for the balance of the weekend in CCHL2, and look forward to a great season. Can't wait to get to Westport, have some fun with Perth and Athens and Westport and everything that's going to happen. Great job, man. All right, thanks for having me. Mike Bundy, the Westport Rideaus, everybody. Well done, Buns.